Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Wade Watches. I'm Wade, and no, you're not seeing double. I am once again going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, having just seen it a second time, this time in Dolby Cinema instead of IMAX, and my opinion has changed a little bit, a hair, and my overall thoughts have gone down just a notch. They haven't my enjoyment of the film hasn't greatly decreased, but my overall opinion has gone down just a nudge. I am going to have to attribute my initial review where I gave it a 9 out of 10 to just the fact that this film, I guess, exists, and that I was seeing it for the first time in theaters, and I was just hyped to see another MCU movie or something like that. So I am going to have to contribute some of my initial thoughts to just that, I guess what you could call fanboy hype, fan hype, or what have you, seeing it opening weekend with a bunch of eager fans and whatnot, and getting caught up in the emotions of it all. That being said, I still found this movie to be a hell of a lot of fun. It's still funny. The jokes, most of the jokes at least, still hold up. The chemistry between Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's iconic Wolverine is still there. It's still great. But see, it's just that I have to talk about. Honestly, the chemistry between these two is really the main thing that works about this movie. Watching it the second time around, the story, which, don't worry, even though this is my second review of this, I'm not gonna drop any major spoilers. The story just wasn't it for me. It was another, I guess this is lightly spoilery, but it was another, multiverse story, and me just saying those words, where this is all going to go. And I will say this, I'm one of those Marvel fans who's just not that super big on the multiverse, everything post Endgame, digging into the multiverse, a lot of throwbacks and nostalgia, look, it's this person from this movie that you remember when you were a kid, they're back now. Just I like that stuff. I'm just as excited as a lot of you out there to see certain people back in things, but that can only take a film so far. And it's very interesting that Deadpool and Wolverine throws jabs at doing that, at the whole multiverse saga thing, while being another multiverse story. I was kind of scratching my head going why are you doing what you're making fun of? I get that he's supposed to break the fourth wall, he's very self-aware, he's very meta, so is he making fun of his own movie? I just why are you doing the thing that you're mocking and really kind of trashing? So yeah, I'm gonna have to say it. The story's not the worst thing ever, not cringy. There were moments when I was invested in it, but overall it's not the most mind-blowing story that Marvel has ever come with as far as their MCU installments are concerned. Honestly, it's very kind of okay, you're doing this again, cool, nice, good for you, I guess. But like I said, I still found myself really having a good time here because these two, who obviously carry the majority of the film, not the whole of the film, but the majority of the film, are very good together. They're very good separately. They each have pretty awesome backstories, a lot of depth. And though this is of course predominantly a comedy, there's a lot of tragedy here that I definitely picked up on the second time around. The first time I watched this movie, I was too busy laughing with everybody else, but these two are really kind of tragic figures, and I guess that's something that I was able to notice this time around. But yeah, other than that, there's really not a lot for me to praise. I did say this in my first review, the villains just aren't it for me in this movie. They're both incredibly weak, very generic, run-of-the-mill, disposable villains. I remember the phase 1 times when this universe was first starting out, where everybody said, we love the heroes, we love seeing Captain America, we love seeing the Hulk, we love seeing Iron Man on the silver screen, but the villains in those movies, man, very weak. Well, here you go. I guess more nostalgia for the people, having those forgettable throwaway villains once again. I don't know. And another thing that could have been improved upon is that I get why, Deadpool's friend group didn't have as much screen time as they had in the first two movies. This is very much, kind of a two-man quest that these two go on to, to do something to save the world, to save their universes. I really understand and respect why they were like pushed to the sidelines so these two could go on their hero's journey. But they were such a good part. They were like one of the best parts, apart from Deadpool himself, of those first two movies. And I'm not even a fan of the character, but I do like how Ryan Reynolds brings this character to life. And I also like, his relationship with his little friend group. Colossus, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Peter, Dupinder. I love those guys in the first two movies, and they're like a cameo in this movie. So that's something I was just kind of like, eh. But you know what, guys? Wrapping it up, for all my griping, for all of the things that I noticed that just weren't working for me, during my second viewing. Like I said, these two, it's literally called Deadpool and Wolverine, and Deadpool and Wolverine knock it out of the park in this movie. They're good individually, they're great together. So I'm gonna bump down my original rating of 9 out of 10. I'm gonna give Deadpool and Wolverine an 8 out of 10 because, despite me saying like, the story just wasn't like the best thing in the world, and even like comparing it to the other two Deadpool movies, I felt like those stories were a bit better than this one. But I still really enjoyed the chemistry between these two. I enjoyed the jokes. I enjoyed some of the fourth wall break moments. Great seeing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, and I don't know what else to say except that these two have great chemistry, and it's a very rare thing for me. But this one thing, just because these two are in this film and they're mostly together, and it's their story, together and separately. That one thing saves this movie from being, just like, average, forgettable, mediocre, just okay. This is still a really good movie. Still, one of the better movies I've seen in 2024, but not one of the greatest movies I've seen this year. And Deadpool, my new rating for Deadpool and Wolverine is an 8 out of 10. Bumped it down 1 point, but it's still a good movie. Go out and see it if you haven't already. This has been another edition of Wade Watches. This is my second time watching Deadpool and Wolverine. Bumped it down to an 8 out of 10. What did you guys think of Deadpool and Wolverine? Have you seen it more than once like I have? If so, how does it measure up for you now? Do you still really love it? Do you still really hate it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you see this, and if you like what you see here, feel free to like and subscribe. This has been another edition of Wade Watches, and I will see you all next time. Peace.